Do you ever worry about your accent in a foreign language? I don't. Hello everyone, my name is Jan van Haar of Language Boost, and let's talk a little bit about accents today. Because should you worry about having a bad accent or not? Recently I received a comment of someone. He commented on this video that I did a while ago in 9 or 10 languages, and he said, "Oh, but he speaks Chinese with an accent." But even more remarkable is that on another video which I posted, which I did with these German twins. Maybe you remember that video. I was speaking Dutch, they were speaking German, and we were trying to hold a conversation while they didn't speak. They couldn't speak any Dutch. It was an experiment to see how much they could understand. And actually, what was very remarkable is that there were a lot of Dutch people commenting on the video, saying that they could understand the Germans better than me while I was speaking Dutch. And then all the people say, "Oh, his accent is really shit in Dutch." The reality is we all have an accent. You either have in English, you either have an American accent or an English accent or a Scottish accent or a London accent or wherever you're from. If I speak Dutch, I do have an accent from the south. If I speak Chinese, I do have an accent as well. It's probably a mix of a foreign accent and also because I basically learned my Chinese in the south. So I learned to say zheli instead of zheli instead of zheli, which means here. So you have this z, zh. In the south they say nali. In the north they say nar. There's a few changes, and you have this in Chinese, you have this in English, you have this in all the language. We have this in the south, even in the south of Netherlands. The way we speak, it's pretty different from the northern parts or even the central parts of the Netherlands. It's quite funny because if I go to Amsterdam, for example, people think that I'm from Belgium. Hey, are you from Belgium? But here in Belgium, people can clearly hear that I'm from the Netherlands. So that's like an in-between. I think it's very funny. Now, should you worry about the accent that you have in a second or a third language? I always try to speak. I'm speaking English now. English is not my first language. I do have an accent, but do I really want to take the effort to talk like an American or like someone from London? Not really. I mean, having an accent is also part of your identity, right? I do not really feel comfortable speaking like an American. I would feel very uncomfortable doing that. It's not who I am. It's not my identity. I've never lived in the States. I have never lived in any country where they speak English. So I just use this international version of English. English is an international language, so I think it's okay if you have an accent there. It's part of your identity. You have especially like Spanish, French and Italian speakers who most of the time have a very strong accent in English. I think as long as you sound educated, you have a wide vocabulary, you're functional, your grammar is okay, I think it's perfectly fine. That's my personal opinion. And when I learn a foreign language, of course I try to imitate. In Brazil, for example, I spend most of my time in Sao Paulo, so I try to be as much Paulista as I can. But I don't think I would feel comfortable speaking like a real Paulista. I think there will always be this accent, this kind of identity that gives away that I'm not a native speaker. And if you think about it, is it really possible to speak without an accent as a foreigner? There's many polyglots here on YouTube. Many of them are very talented, like for example Luca Lampriello and Vladimir Skutati. We have, of course, they speak very good English, but can't you hear that they are... I think Vlad is very close to a native English accent. I remember that from the last video interview that I did, Skype interview, there were many Americans writing, commenting, saying that his accent is native or very close to a native accent. I think that's as close as you can get, but again, Vlad learned English from a very, very young age. So is it really possible to get a native accent if you start learning in your, I don't know, as a teenager. I've never seen an example like that. I think you can get very close, but if you don't sound like a native, I really wouldn't worry about that. I've never seen anyone getting disadvantages or from speaking a language with an accent. I have a YouTube channel here. Most of people who are watching these videos now are from the States. I definitely have an accent. Maybe some people don't like it, think who's this Dutch guy, don't like him. Go to the next YouTube channel to watch the next video. Some of you might think, pretty interesting. You know, I think an accent also has its charm. At least that's what I hope. By the way, I think that having a good accent also comes with confidence. So the more confidence you have, the wider your vocabulary is, the more you can understand. I think then also becomes easier to actually less scary to sound more like a native speaker. My Russian, for example, is not very good, but when I was in Russia last year, I didn't dare to really put this Russian accent, because I was afraid that people were gonna think, aha, this guy speaks very good Russian, and that they're then gonna speak full speed. I wanted people to slow down. So yeah, just a thought. Which accent should you pick? I think just pick an accent that you, first of all, that you like, but also that the people you talk with, that your friends have, for example. Obviously, you have the most opportunities to listen to the language that way, and well, that's most of the time how I pick my accent. Depends on the place where I am, the people I talk to. I do not really have a strong preference for, not really against or pro a certain accent. Yes, that was it for now. Thanks for watching, and yeah, of course, let me know what you think about accents. Is it okay to speak with an accent or not? See you next time.